Capital Planning to order January 12th, 5:10 p.m. Our meeting is being videotaped, and our open meeting law requires that I advise all of you that open session public meetings are subject to being recorded, and your voice and image will be recorded. So the first thing to do, I think, would be to talk to school.
First thing, you have to get a roll call vote.
Oh, I have to get a roll call vote?
I
Okay.
believe so.
Yeah, for...
A roll call what?
A vote to open.
Oh, the
Because
chairs.
we're on cable.
Oh, I thought the
Oh,
chair
I
was
didn't know
allowed to
that.
open.
Oh, well, yeah. So what does that mean, Eloise?
It
How do I
means
do
it's
it?
unanimous, right?
Sure.
Thank you.
We all vote that we're opening? Okay.
I don't know if I'm a
good.
voter, but I will do whatever you all want.
I asked if you guys were ready, so that sounds like a vote. Okay.
Okay.
Put it in the minutes. We voted, Eloise.
Yep.
They are.
Good.
Okay, so I think we should talk to school, since they came all this way to chat with us about their capital request for this year. Hi, I'm Anna Crane. Nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you. I'm Carol Costello, the acting superintendent of schools.
Oh, hi, Carol.
And Nancy Koninsky, director of finance and operations.
Fantastic.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, thanks for coming. It's
Yes.
great to see you guys.
Great.
Yeah, in person, yeah.
Yeah.
It is much nicer,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I have to admit that I remembered and then completely forgot to attend the select board meeting for the small window that you guys were. Did you go? Awesome.
And so did Eloise.
Janet and Ellie were on it.
We
I got
walked-
on like right after. I went, oh, I missed them.
Do you need a review of that?
So no, not if my team members have
Okay.
have attended. Okay. So then for your
In your space.
for your FY24 requests.
So I gave you guys two sheets. I gave you
Yep.
one for the Berlin Memorial Elementary and one for Tohoto. If you want to go, we can start with the elementary.
Sure.
If you guys want to take a look at that. So for fiscal year '24, which is the budget we're discussing, there's three things in here for capital requests for fiscal year '24. One is for IT for $45,000. It's a replacement plan that we would like to put in here for 90 Chromebooks, 25 new iPads, and new district phones for our district offices. Then we would like to repave the walkway and the playground. The walkway's cracked, it's unsafe, so that's in for $20,000. And then the flat roof above the cafeteria. That roof is 22 years old, so you would remove the existing roof to the existing deck and replace it with a new roof system, a rubber roof and metal edging. And then, we don't have to go over it, but I gave you guys a 3-year plan, kind of, so you can see what we're thinking down the line. Previously, when I first submitted this, under 25, I had the rest of the roof in here, but during this time, our director of facilities had a roof inspector come out to look at the roof, and he said we can actually push that up about 5 years. So that was great news, because that was 1.1 million.
Yeah.
So that is pushed down to like 27, 28 fiscal year, so that was good news. If you want me to go over the other years, let me know. Otherwise, if you guys have any questions for the elementary school.
So my first question would be, where did you get all the numbers from?
Quotes.
Yes.
So, yep, so we got a quote for the flat roof. The figure for the IT came from our IT director, and same thing with the walkway and the playground.
And do we have those quotes?
I did not, I can send them to you.
If you could, that'd be
Sure.
great. Yep. I'm looking to see if we got.
Absolutely.
Do you guys get access to our capital request forms that we originally
I think yes,
send? Okay.
yes. Yep.
So typically request those forms be filled out and then any associated documentation.
Okay.
Quotes and
I
such.
believe I filled out the forms, but I definitely didn't get you the quotes.
Okay,
Yeah,
that'd be great if you could.
okay, yep.
What is the timing on that, and as far as the, the form, filling out the form? Anytime we have the quotes, we would fill out the form.
So no, the forms go out beginning of September. I can't remember, 15th or 1st.
We were
A little late. Yeah, I was
Okay,
gonna
'cause
say
I
we were a
didn't
little
start
late.
until September 16th. But I think usually they go out
Yeah.
beginning or middle of September.
And then they're due back by November 1st for the next fiscal
Yeah,
fiscal year.
so everything was thrown off
Yeah.
a bit
Yep.
this year, so.
Yeah.
I can relate.
Just a quick question.
Absolutely.
What are you upgrading on HVAC?
That is the rooftops. that
On the
is
rooftop model?
Yep, the rooftop units.
Just like we need one on this building too.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
Is that the air handler that you're
Yeah.
referring to? Yeah, I do
Yeah.
have some good news on that, by the way. We locked it in. Yes, as an aside, if you want me to share.
Excellent.
We locked it in at 123,000. It did come in 23,000 over budget, but the select board allocated some ARPA funding for the difference. It is being ordered. It is a 22 to 26 week lead time in order for the item to come in. Then it's another 4 to 6 week lead time for installation to be scheduled. So we're in the summer now at this point. But it does give us time to try to get out an IFB for the roof replacement, which also needs to be done. So I'm hoping those will dovetail nicely with one another.
Okay.
I can't believe the building's 22 years old.
I was
I
thinking
know.
that, Jen, I would, right? We were celebrating, what, the 10th together?
Yeah, I think. This doesn't seem possible.
Goodbye.
Time goes by so fast.
Anybody have any other questions for them about their request?
Want me to move on to the high school, middle school, high school, Tohoto? Okay. So in Tohoto, our total request is 1.7 million. This is a combination between Boylston and Berlin. It's not broken out at this point in time. So we have security camera and system upgrades that need to be done. That includes upgrades and several new cameras inside and outside of the building. They need to be, they're old. So that's for 200,000. We would like to do a facility assessment to the building, and that came in at approximately 50,000. That's so we can kind of keep track of all the work that needs to be done on the building. We did that to Berlin Memorial, I think 2 years ago at this time. IT, same thing. 40
Excuse me, how old is the high school now? Only a few years, right?
15? Is it gonna be 15?
Yeah.
I
No.
think.
Didn't we build a new one?
No, we just built a
No,
new one.
Guy is 21 and he
That
was
is the
there
new
in
one.
7th grade, so 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, he's been out, so almost 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, right? Am I right?
Oh, yeah, because Brian came in, that was 2009, and the
Yeah.
building was built within two
Man,
years.
Yeah,
time
so it's
flies.
at least,
4 years.
I think it's gonna be 10. I'm gonna look it up while
10
we're
years,
talking.
right, that was
That's
great.
all
10,
right,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. No, I wanna know.
10 years.
I thought it was a new one. but-
Yeah, I was gonna say that just happened like 2 years ago, right? We built that building.
Yeah.
In my former community, the high school that I went to, we still call the new high school. It was built in 1995, so I understand.
That was only yesterday,
It was only yesterday.
depending how old you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then under IT, same thing, the replacement plan for 120 Chromebooks for our middle school students, and then new phones for our district offices. And then also for $110,500 to replace 85 Chromebooks with student laptops for the seniors. And then we would like to do an assessment for our auditorium, sound, and light system. There's a lot of portions of the system that aren't working or aren't working properly. And instead of kind of just fixing them piece by piece, we think it would benefit us to have somebody come out and look at it and really tell us what needs to be done. So we're not wasting money. So to do assessment on that, we feel would be very beneficial.
Groundbreaking was May 2011.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're going on 12 years.
It
Okay.
opened January 3rd, halfway through the year, remember?
Yeah.
In 2013. So 10 years this year.
10 years.
I'm pretty
Wow.
good, aren't I,
Thank
Eloise?
you. Yes, you are.
Wow.
I
So
know.
wait, it just turned 10 years old, right?
Yeah,
January 3rd.
Yeah, January 3rd.
Wow.
So I,
How did that happen?
And then the HVAC upgrade, which is the rooftop units for $15,000. And then you have your principal and interest for the building. And then we also broke it out for fiscal year '25 and fiscal year '26. Mainly, the rest of the years is IT and then replacing the asphalt on the track. That's for fiscal year '25.
I have a couple of questions. The phones are listed twice, both for
'Cause they're
VMS and
broken
for
out.
Tohono.
So we break them out by school, so by the dollar amounts broken out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the rooftop units, you have 15,000 on one, and you have 400,000 on the other.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me the difference?
So the rooftop units in Tohoto is just a small upgrade. It's just, I can have the facility director come back and explain more to you. He does have quotes, which I can send you. It's just a smaller upgrade is needed in Tohoto. And then in Berlin, it's all of it.
I'm just
I'm
running
sorry.
quick, so I'm coughing on people.
Yeah. So it's just a difference of the number of upgrades and the number of units. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Quick question on laptops and
Yeah.
do you replace them every year or?
No, so, well,
I'll try.
no, so years ago, we used to have money in the capital plan here in Berlin for the replacement cycle for technology. That hasn't happened in a number of years, and right now, we are trying to get back on track with that. So we don't have to replace them every year necessarily.
No.
We're usually trying to repair them and get them back out again. But we're feeling right now, what's happening is the platforms that the students are using for their learning are becoming so sophisticated that the high school needs to be able to use laptops. We had purchased Chromebooks in the past for them, but these platforms aren't running now on those Chromebooks. So we're trying to start this cycle where we get a few every year for the next 3 years. Like next year would be the laptops to the seniors, and those laptops will go down to the juniors the following year, and then the seniors will get another batch of them through high school. Then the middle school will get the Chromebooks and operate the same way. By then, after the 3 years, then we can start back on the 5-year replacement. We try to do 5 years.
Do they take them home? I forgot, yeah.
They are, especially since
So
COVID.
some of them get damaged and ruined and
Yeah, they
lost.
do. They just do. We have an insurance plan now for the students in the middle high school that they would have to take out something like that if they're going to take them home.
Okay.
But it's just the wear and tear on them in the class because they're used so often. You know, it's hard to imagine there was a day when those used to be sort of the.
Yeah, my kids were in high school in 1980s, end of the 80s, so.
Yeah.
Well, us
We
too.
didn't
I
even
mean,
have
up
computers.
to-
Yeah, I know.
Even 10 years ago, right, where they were sort of like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, and then once in a while you use an iPad. All the time, they do their homeworks on their phone, on their homework on their
Okay.
phones now.
I know in 2022, John graduated and there weren't enough Chromebooks
Yeah.
to go around. So an email went out to parents that said, if you already have one at home, could you please use it? Because we have some children that aren't as fortunate and we don't have enough to go around.
Right.
So we're trying to give them, you know, these devices that are basic. They're not.
Just a suggestion on these documents. Can you put a date stamp on it or,
Yes, absolutely.
so we know what river you're
What
looking
version?
at, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
that's a great idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
The software will do it automatically anyway. You just
my
Yep.
law.
turn it on.
Absolutely.
I don't mind.
Thank you.
No.
It's been 3.5 weeks, and I'm fine until I'm not fine.
I get
and then I'm fine
bronchitis
again.
that lasts for like 6 weeks out there, so I understand.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. Any more questions? We're good. I want to try to breathe. I want to circle back for a moment just to the thing we didn't talk about, which I said that they had. The sign for the exchange.
I was gonna ask about that. What,
Okay.
where is that,
So-
yeah, where
I
is-
spoke with Mr. Campbell a little more on this.
Okay.
And he wants to push it to 27.
no,
So
no,
now
no,
it's-
I think what Anna's referring to is you wanted to move money to cover something.
Oh,
Right.
And
right,
that's
the
not
HVA
here.
oh, because that's in this year's budget, so it's in fiscal year 23.
I know, but you're taking money out of fiscal '22 to do
Yeah.
fiscal '23, and so we have to kind of work it funky. So,
So you want to see the,
yeah, unfortunately,
I don't think I
yes.
did.
I learned this all last night.
I sent out an email.
You did, it was wonderful.
You had it down pat last night, too.
I tried my
Wait, I
best
didn't
to
get an
support everything, and Eloise, when I heard her voice on Monday night, I went, whoo, thank you, Eloise. Yeah, she sent out an email explaining it all. Did you get it?
I did not. I didn't get an email explaining it all.
I sent it to you. You were the first on my email.
Aw, I love being first on your email.
No, she did send it, Anna. Let me.
Oh, I believe you.
You were too busy coughing.
Yeah, probably. It's the fact that I'm not sleeping.
So I can write this out for you and send it to you, but how it is, so in the current year budget, we have the LED sign for 18,000, but at this point in time. Last year's budget, fiscal year 22, we had money in there for the platform.
Right,
The-
right, the HVAC
Yes.
access platform?
Yes.
Yes.
And that work was done prior to me and the facility
Yes.
director, and the quote just came in, and it's 18,000 over.
Yep.
So in speaking with Mr. Campbell, he said that LED sign's not gonna happen. So because that quote came in crazy, exactly the same amount over, I'm requesting to use the money that you gave us for the LED sign for this fiscal year.
Okay.
It's kind of confusing. Yeah.
So we gave you money for an LED sign
Yeah,
last year?
we have-
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's in our budget, it's in our system. You gave it for this current year right
Right.
now that we're in. For fiscal year 23, we have $18,000 that we are not going to use.
Right.
Probably until fiscal year, we'll request it again in fiscal year 27. So it's kind of off the table. So since it came, FY 22, we just got the
Yep.
invoice for
Yeah.
it. Since it came over, I'm requesting to use the money that we're not going to use.
Can we do that, Kristen, or do we have to like shut down one and just restart another?
That is
Paperwork
the
wise.
$1,000,000 question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So June and I were actually talking about that, and so what we believe is because the funding that's allocated to the schools, we do break it out into projects, but it is allocated as a lump sum to the schools. It does cross over fiscal years, but it's not like the town's budget where it doesn't come back in terms of free cash the way it does on the town side. So what we had finance do last night and what we had the select board do was basically take a vote that the funding could be reallocated mainly for the purposes of transparency, so that everybody knows what's going on, we're on the same page. And June is just doing a final check on the funding mechanism, but at this time, we don't actually believe there has to be any type of transfer done at town meeting. So we think we are all set. She just had preferred, since it was voted a certain way at town meeting and the voters had allocated money to certain projects, that we very much appreciate you letting us know that there was a change.
Right.
And so we had finance and the select board vote to authorize the reallocation of funding, and June would like capital to take a vote as well.
Okay.
I make the motion that we approve this.
Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you so
Do you
much.
need anything else from us as far as any compliments? or-
Carol, you might want to just put a little 1 or 2 sentence in the town report that you've done this.
You beat me to it, Eloise. I was
Yeah.
just
We were,
gonna say.
we actually just
Okay.
talked about that last night at finance, that it would be
Yep.
nice for transparency to explain.
Because 5 years from now, you can't, except for Janet, the rest of us can't remember if we did it one year or the other year.
Well, you gotta give me a little bit of a chance to remember a few things.
I'm not as good as I used to be. Well, I used to be pretty good, but I'm not
I'm
as
gonna be
good as I
writing
used to
that this weekend, so I'm glad you said that.
Perfect.
Maybe this is a point of clarification, I just wanna make sure, usually there's two reports that, well, there's many reports that come from our side of it. Can I combine my report as superintendent, assistant? Do you need two separate reports?
What do you
for
mean,
towns?
two separate?
Oh, in
There's
the,
usually a superintendent's and an assistant superintendent's report.
We don't have one though, so
Yeah,
yes, I
absolutely.
absolutely combine them.
You do, it's
Surprise
me.
us.
Yes.
But
It's
they were
all
okay,
you.
from a town perspective, as long as I see it,
We're
I was
very-
wondering about that.
whatever format works best for you,
Okay.
that's no problem.
That's okay. I just didn't know if I have to write two reports.
No.
I think the biggest issue is to have all the information there. And maybe you can explain, there are gonna be some people that haven't followed this whole transition of admin. So you might just want a little blurb that says, I, Carol Bradley, because there are some people in town that,
I have
I
no
know.
idea what's going on at the school.
See?
None whatsoever.
so I think
you guys are different people than I've
Excuse
met
me?
before.
Nancy's like,
Who's Bradley?
I said, I will always be
Oh,
Carol
sorry,
Bradley.
Cal.
I'll always be Carol
I was
Bradley.
wondering the same thing.
Carol will be forever Carol Bradley in my life, and that's another story to be told. But Carol Costello, excuse me.
It's all right.
I figured that, yeah.
But yeah, because here's a perfect example. Somebody on it, they have
We don't
no-
have kids, we've never been involved in the
Right,
school
so-
system. We
yeah,
have
So
no
that's
idea.
good, I'll add that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Soft.
Sounds
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Great.
Just an acknowledgement,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah,
Good, I'm glad I checked that. All right. Sounds good.
great.
Okay. Do we have any further questions or concerns for school? No? Well,
I
thank-
just,
Oh.
on the Tohoto Capital, you expect that money just from the town of Berlin for this year?
No, that's a combination of Boylston and Berlin.
When will the split happen?
So the assessments come in probably mid-February, end of February, and I think it goes out to the towns the June-ish timeframe after the town vote meeting in May, to answer your question. I gave you the long version. After the town meeting in May, then assessments get sent out.
So they won't see the split until
Then.
after the town meeting?
Right, correct.
Well, we have to vote that as part of the budget.
And when do you vote? That's-
So
Town
May
meeting.
1st
Yeah.
is our town meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll need that money. We'll need to know the split before town
Right,
meeting.
that's what I'm
Right.
thinking.
We usually know it too, and they usually give it to us.
At this point in time?
Yeah,
Yeah, usually. Well, February.
February,
Feb-
yeah.
okay.
February.
because
So the
everything's
assessments do
done
get
on
posted
the
in February.
October
Right.
one.
So I'm new to regional, so.
That's okay.
I can do.
I am
Well, we
too,
are
so-
all new to regional because we haven't, regional is
Yeah.
pretty new to all of us.
Okay, so I have the information in February and I will get it to you in February.
Perfect.
So that's
Because
fine.
what we do is
come
we
back
back
again?
into all of our other
Huh?
budgets
Yes.
too with that.
That makes sense.
information.
She asked if we
Okay.
needed her to
Do you
come
need
back
us to
again,
come
only if we
back
have,
again to look at
we
that
very rarely
split?
have questions and,
Let us
I
know.
mean, if we do, we'll reach out.
Yeah, let us know. All right.
But
Okay, I'll get it to you in February.
Any other questions, concerns?
I'm done.
I'm done.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you
Nice
attending.
seeing you.
Thank you. Very nice to meet you in person.
I will, I will.
I hear we have a common neighbor in line. Our school committee chair is your next door neighbor, right?
Who is it?
Mike Topman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
I said, I know where you live. All righty. Be careful out there on the roads when you go.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask if it was a little.
It really
slick.
isn't yet, but it's
yet.
getting
It's gonna get
colder.
Right on
cold.
that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My luck, right when I leave, it'll
Yeah.
freeze over here.
All right, good night, good night.
We'll
See
hurry.
you.
We'll
Bye.
hurry.
Good night.
Thank you, bye.
Okay, I gotta go back to my planning requests.
I unfortunately have to run in
Yep.
about 10 minutes, but I just wanted to
We don't have
let you know. So.
We don't have that much, do we?
I mean, we have to talk about everything. As far as I'm aware, we've met with everybody except for cable.
And they have a request, right?
They
do.
They do. They've
Yeah.
not officially submitted it, although it was a lovely email I thought you wrote.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it was very thorough.
So we just need the form, right, Brittany had summarized what they're looking for, and I know we were looking for some information on funds that were available, and if that form could be completed, and then I think we are gonna have them maybe at your next meeting, or?
We could, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just know it was short notice for today, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, and part of that's my fault. I apologize because I'm a little behind on emails, given that it's budget season. So I'm trying to push out the information as I get it in. So
I have one question, Kristen. We're
Sure.
supposed to give the selectmen a report of our, where we stand at the end of January.
Okay. Are you planning on meeting again before the end of January?
Well, that's part of the conversation.
I think that's highly likely.
I mean, we don't know what finances are really allocated to us yet, which makes it hard.
And we are still waiting. Everything has been submitted to the state. We are waiting for approval on free cash. So that makes, and I understand that makes it challenging. I think probably your best bet is to, rank your projects in, order of priority. And your ballpark figure is the $1 million that you've used in the past. And as soon as I get that finalized free cash number from June, then I'll be able to get it to you. And our schedule might be slightly off because we are delayed backing into that free cash number this year, which inhibits me from giving you a set figure. But finance is meeting every Wednesday. So the good news on that is as soon as the numbers come in certified from the state on the free cash side, we can have that conversation right away and get you that number as soon as possible. So we can certainly communicate back and forth too and keep you up to date on what's going on.
Anna? The other one we have not met with was Council on Aging concerning the community center feasibility study.
So we did meet with them last year regarding that feasibility study, and I thought that we were trying to encourage all of the facilities assessment feasibility studies to be done together with one plan. And so we were sort of waiting on hearing about our facilities assessment.
Yes. So the facilities, let me just pull up. I was finally able to get into my files. Let's hope it stays that way. I just want to pull up what we were doing with ARPA.
What is this under, that form? For some reason, I can't find it.
This spreadsheet?
Yeah.
This is what Eloise put together.
I know, I don't know where it is. I can't
Did she
find
put it in the
I
Google
don't see it.
folder? I just have it via email.
I just don't know what it's called. I saw it before, but I can't find.
If it's not in there, will you forward it to me or Mary and we'll make sure that it goes, we'll get it right in there?
Oh, it's all right, I just,
Okay.
Eloise can re-forward it. I had it at one point, I just can't seem to find it.
Okay, the community preservation has received 3 requests, but they will be covered by community preservation funds.
Right, but there, we want to make sure there's some type of coordination with capital.
Well, that would be a first.
I've heard, and I would love to see that and
It's
facilitate.
been a hard year.
Yeah, well, it's challenging, right, because they're kind of on their own with their own separate funding source, and I understand that, but from a, procurement perspective and a long-term planning perspective, you want to make sure that's on, your capital plan when you look out 5 years. So, but back on the facilities study quickly, the select board did allocate $75,000 for the facilities study. So I do think, and I believe we discussed this a little bit, but I think it would probably make the most sense to include looking at whether an existing building could be reused for that purpose as part of that study as a stepping stone. And then if it's determined that there is not an existing space that's suitable, then we could look at next steps after that. But I think since we already have that study going on, it would make sense to start there.
Has it already been awarded?
No, it has not been put out to bid. I just got the funding for it last month. Or, well, actually, I'm sorry, November, so not last month, the month before.
This fiscal cycle.
Correct. So ARPA is good through 26, I believe.
Oh, really? That much?
Yes, it has to
Oh,
be,
kinda nice. Okay.
don't quote me, it has to be allocated by,
I thought it was 23.
has to be allocated, I believe, by the end of 24, calendar year 24, and expended by the end of calendar year 26. And I have that written down somewhere. I will confirm it, but that is my understanding.
It's amazing how these assessment fees double up in a year. I remember last year we were talking about, well, $35,000. Now it's 70.
Oh, no, see that?
So that's
Not it.
just an allocation of
But
funds
that's a
that
beautiful
we
spreadsheet
haven't
that
put
we
it out
used
to
last year.
bid yet, so we don't have an
And it says
exact
23
cost
and
estimate on what it
27.
would come in as.
That's
Yeah.
why I thought maybe. it
So
was
that's just an appropriation. If
have-
it comes in less than that, which we hope it will, those funds would go back to ARPA.
Okay.
That's the,
People who go for these awards know exactly how much you are gonna pay.
Right.
here, it's right
So
here.
don't give them that number.
No, we do
You
not
have
include,
to.
nope,
Yes.
nope.
Public
You have to?
information.
But in the
So
RFP, we don't include it, and the likelihood of them going and looking through minutes for it is kind of slim.
They call.
They call you? Tell them to call me.
Ah.
No, I know. It is public record, yes. Should they ask for it? Absolutely. But they also know they're competing with other firms.
That
So
is true. That's your
Yeah, but
one
the-
ace.
That's your
They all
driver.
behave the same. So
Well,
I know.
we'll do our best.
I know.
I know what you mean, though. It's
Yeah.
and right now the cost escalation for everything is
It's
just
just outrageous. Yeah.
And, you know, it's interesting, we had Dennis Fairbay speak before the FinCom last night, and based on, I mean, he keeps an eye out globally on financial matters, and he said, you know, it doesn't look like next year's gonna be that much better if he had to, you know.
I know,
make
and
a
you came to our finance
guesstimation.
with all of this wonderful, like, woo, and then you came back the next week and went,
I
"Ooh."
know, I
And after
know.
last night, I was like, woo.
Yeah, I was all excited, you know, because it's like we're getting out of COVID and, you know. Well, I think part of it too is the town has excess levy capacity, but it's understanding how the select board and the FinCom want to allocate those resources. And it's very important to keep everything, you know, as tight as possible, which is understandable. I think that the commercial shift really caused us the problems that we weren't anticipating, and the devaluation of the malls. That's really what put a
Well,
wrench
yeah.
in everything. And the fact that we had to shift that burden over to the residential side, so you really can't levy as much as you would like to because the residents are already taking a hit from the commercial devaluation.
Janet.laney@gmail.com.
Yeah.
They've been telling me it's been tight since I became an elected
Wait,
official in 1983. Just saying.
Janet Lee made
Yeah,
you-
there we go.
There's about a couple $1 million excess levy capacity, but that raises taxes if you tap into it. And I understand nobody wants their taxes raised. That's
And
fair.
then we talked about the fact that in order to we've lost a lot of the taxes from industry and business.
Yeah.
So when those come down, ours come up, and trying to make that balance and people
Correct.
not understanding that, it's been a challenge for.
How about cutting a budget so we can balance better this thing?
Well, there's not much to cut when
No?
you've had a very lean budget to begin with. Departments were very prudent during COVID, and the only problem with that, and we talked a little bit about FinCom, is because things came kind of grinding to a halt during COVID time, there were projects that were put off. And there are consequences from that, whether it be deferred maintenance resulting in larger problems, or having to, you know, really be up against the gun to do those problems now, or to address those issues now, and dealing with it in this climate where everything is so much more expensive. So that's kind of what we're up against right now. And obviously, as you were saying, Janet, when the commercial goes down and the residential has to bear a larger burden of that tax base, to say, okay, we're going to eat into the levy capacity and raise taxes even more is just not fair to anybody. I mean, it's understandable, so we're
Yeah,
trying to keep
people
it
are
as
taking a
tight as
lot
we
of
can.
beating with this inflation and everything else. Now we're gonna
Right.
tax them more.
No, and
They're
I
gonna
get
come
that.
after us.
This is not the time to,
No.
you know, excessively tax people.
What
Not
about,
that it's good ever, but.
do we have a new growth number?
So that's part of where we're at with the state. I can tell you that the first 6 months of 23, the new growth was 238,000. Now, doubling that is hard to say what the last 6 months of 23 will look like, but I did just get that number in from Molly.
Well, I just figured the new homes up on Highland, Highland Street.
Yep,
Oh, the over 55 development.
right.
Yeah, that is
So-
all classified
Yep.
as new growth.
But what's also lowering is we had to lower the building permits because all of those permits have been pulled. So when I'm doing my estimates, even though I can raise new growth a little, I had to lower incoming building permits. So it offsets itself a little bit.
Yeah, it is a teeter-totter.
It's a balancing act.
True.
I live and breathe budgets right now. That's
Mhm.
what I do.
Kristen, what's your email?
Town admin at townofberlin.com.
It's the same as Margaret. You just have
Is
to.
The same as Margaret.
Yeah,
yeah.
you just
Oh.
have to.
They just
you have to
transferred it.
I just have to
change
change it from Margaret.
Yep.
I don't know how to do that, but I promise I'll figure
That's
it out.
okay. I will be offended if it pops
Okay,
up, Margaret.
so I'm sending you this spreadsheet that Eloise put together,
Excellent. And I
along with everybody else.
do apologize, I do have to run. But if anything else comes up and you have questions after, just shoot me an email or give me a call and I will work on it.
Great.
All right, thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming.
Nice to see you all.
Drive safe.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, be careful.
Yes, thank you.
When's the next time you wish to meet?
Wait. I want to circle back and see if there are any things that we can approve while we're here.
Well, see,
How can we approve if we don't have the money?
if we don't, well, that's,
I don't mean to sound crazy, but
well, that's like I put a negative 27,000 for the town offices, RTU and the funding, because the selectmen have paid for that. So I wanted to acknowledge it was requested, but I took it out. But I didn't know if I should also take out the feasibility study for the community center.
oh,
My understanding from what Kristen just said is yes.
I know, but I'm asking this committee.
Ah, okay.
I think you should leave it and do what you did and leave it in red just in case we have to add it back in, Eloise.
Okay.
That's my. I love how this.
I was gonna say, what are you looking at now?
what you just sent me.
That's not what mine looks like.
Well, I don't know. That's what mine looks like. But see how she has it in red, and you added the library repair funds, which was they've asked for that extra 5,000,
Yeah,
which
but
was.
that really should be in Freddie's budget.
Yeah, I don't know where that's going. We
It
talked
should
about
be
that.
facilities.
Yeah, they talked about that the other night, and I honestly can't remember. I'm sorry. And you have the cable in there, even though we don't have that official request yet.
No, but 35,000 is 35,000.
Yep, yep.
What's the story with this new fire truck? That wasn't on our list at all for 25.
Wait, for this year?
No, not this year.
Oh, yeah. No, the Chief Clark talked about needing a new fire truck next year or the year after.
The year after, I believe.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Of
Holy
course it
crap.
is.
Jesus.
That's why if we could get some roofs repaired,
Yeah.
that takes some of the pressure off for at least 20, 25 years. Because we've got, I'm glad that they said we can get 5 more years out of it.
Out of
But
the
it
roof.
also means that the roof over where the, over public safety is also 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
The CPC, Community Preservation, CPA. They have 3 things that they're working on. The fencing for the community garden,
Oh, yeah.
the
Not really, well, okay.
No?
Yeah, they are. My eyes jumped to the wrong line.
Okay. So I have garden, I have the Bullard House, 130,000, and the 123.9 for the pavilion for recreation.
Well, they wanted, they're looking for 15,000, 30,000, 15,000 a year over 2 years to get a housing coordinator through employment CMRCP, because we're gonna have the housing trust started. And I've been on the housing partnership since 2002, and what they are requiring, what DHCD is requiring of us is way out of our pay scale. You know, Trudy Turbo, Linda Nelson, and myself. We can't do it, period.
Yeah.
Well, some of these positions that if people have done volunteering for years have become so paper heavy and so technical, but also policy procedures, and the workload has become more than just somebody that is a volunteer.
Yeah, but we don't have the technical skills.
Right, no, I understand that.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I complained. I
No.
will acknowledge it.
Who's driving that? The state is driving this paperwork?
The state, the housing community.
We don't have one, and we don't even do like federal, we don't have like federal housing, or, do we in town?
The,
Or Northbrook Village would be the only, who, you know, that's even a lot of work down there, so.
And
Yeah.
you have to track, you have to give all sorts of reports when they're sold, when they're transferred. You have to confirm people's eligibility every year. There's a lot more to it than people assume.
Now, will
It's
that
always
salary be a budget line item, or will it come out of the,
Right now, it would be come out of community preservation.
but only so much of that can come out at a time, right, or?
Yeah,
at a-
but we have enough in the housing part of it.
Okay.
And we're only looking for maximum of 4 hours a week.
Okay.
I mean, we joined the Assabet Collaborative but they don't do everything that this person would do. And this person with CMRCP would be joining with 5 or 6 other towns. It's not like we would bear the cost ourselves.
It's my turn to cough.
Then the other thing is the open space and the housing would take out $350,000 to buy that parcel of land across the street from Wheeler's Garage.
Or the Beto property, right?
Yes, it's
Okay.
8 acres. The Beto house, I guess the kitchen needs to be updated a little bit. And then you could sell that as an affordable unit and then there's enough land in the position, I don't know about the Board of Health and water and septic, but possibly put in a duplex so that you can get workplace housing close to the center of town. And that would be affordable housing, particularly when you look at the young people that are working for the highway department. I mean, now everybody's younger than me, but
I am not.
So that 8 acres goes up over the hill, I'm assuming? Like back towards the center of town?
yeah, but they would just use a little portion of it for that.
In the front.
And then
on
at the
Partner
point
Street.
they're sold or whatever, then the housing and open space would be reimbursed, similar to conservation. And then the rec committee has asked for the shade pavilion, and that's $123,900.
And CPA has all the fundings for all these things?
I believe so.
Okay.
We have a meeting, I think it's the 17th.
So the I don't know which one it is. It's number 7, BMS LED sign replacement 17465. That's now going to be that's what we were just talking about, reallocated. So and then they're coming back, what did they say, in 25 or 26 to look at that again. I just wanted to
Well,
let you.
it failed the ZBA.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, that's,
Phil, what's the
ZBA.
They went before the zoning board of
Oh.
appeals.
Oh, okay.
And the first meeting, nobody showed up, which,
Oh.
didn't
Sounds
sit
like-
too well. But after that, if they want something, they should show the ZBA, this is a picture of what we want. You know? There are times when don't use words.
Well, there's
But
one
they
up at
meet
Tohoto that's similar to what they want, which would have been very easy to let
Right.
people know.
Then take a picture of
I know.
it.
I agree. I hear you, Eloise.
It was not a unanimous vote, just in case you
No, that's fine.
question it.
No, I'm not questioning it. Almost good that it didn't go, so they can reallocate it for something else.
Maybe it was serendipity, you know?
Maybe there's a good word.
maybe we'll finally get the HVAC platform
Yeah.
done.
Wow,
Because
it's
it's been
crazy.
5 years?
5 years.
At least.
Yeah. Well, this is my last, I'm finished in 2023, it's my 6th year, and we've been working on that, I think, the entire time I've been here.
So you're gonna retire?
I don't know,
Hmm.
it's up for discussion, but anyways.
So the community, do you guys feel like we could vote or discuss voting for the community preservation entities?
As long as it's within their budgets.
As long as it's within their, but I mean, because they do all the legwork on that, and we're just saying yay or nay.
Correct.
Do you guys feel like we have enough info to vote, or do you want more conversation?
I am comfortable with it.
Okay. I make a motion that we vote on approving all of the CPA items. That's the recreation pavilion, housing coordinator, Carter Street conservation, housing,
Garden fencing.
and garden fencing.
I think you got them all.
I get them all, provided that the CPA has the fundage necessary to cover all those items.
Okay, second that.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye.
Okay. See, we could check some things out.
I like this pavilion stuff.
I love the fact that they're putting a
Yeah, I
pavilion
know.
down there.
It's great.
Oh, I forgot the Bullard House.
Ah, forget about that one. No.
We knew what you meant.
Okay,
Yeah.
we did discuss
All
of
you
it.
said all of the community
All of the
preservation
community projects.
projects.
Yep.
Eloise can stick that in. Do you want us to redo it? The motion and the
No.
vote? Okay.
So the other thing that I think we could potentially vote on without knowing any of our budgetary constraints is the schools. Because
Schools.
we don't have any approval or disapproval power when it comes to the school district. So basically, they just get to tell us.
I agree with your statement, I just prefer to vote after I know what the assessment is.
That sounds perfectly fine. I don't have
Okay.
any problem holding.
Right.
Because
We just-
not all of, I mean, the Tohoto, the amounts that they had submitted to us for Tohoto came to $544,096. And so just giving me the $1,715,300, you know, if it's the 544, I have no problem with it.
But if it's the 1 million,
Well, they didn't break it out.
yeah. So she said she'll get those to us by February.
Yes,
Okay.
Okay.
that's my only,
Ma'am, I have no issues. Holding back.
do you want to vote the Board of Health to the transfer station?
So potentially, I guess my feeling would be I'm concerned about money. I'm also concerned about a retaining wall falling down. Both seems like appropriate
Well, it'd be
concerns.
cheaper to fix it than to pay the medical bill.
It would be, or the whatever.
Yeah, but the total was,
17,670.
yeah, but that's, is it 17 for the total, or that's
No.
just this year's portion?
Yeah, so they said it was 17.6 for this year, 22,183 over 2 years. So 17 this year, another 5 next year. I
I'd
personally would
assume-
suggest we do it all.
I would put it in, and then if he wants to schedule it over 2 years, I don't care.
And he can do that with capital funding. So if it's in the budget, they have to spend it all in that year. If it's not in the budget, if it's capital, they can
If it's a
shift
line
it around.
item.
They have to spend it all in 1 year.
No, if it's a line item, it's spent all in 1 year,
Hmm.
but if it's a warrant article,
Yep.
As a capital, then they can spend it as they want, correct? Am I understanding that right?
Yep.
well, in other words, if he didn't know if he'd have time for the second part, but if it works out he has time, there's the money. If it turns out that part has to wait, then it has to wait, but we're not holding him up,
Right.
as opposed to the fencing.
Do we feel like we want to vote on that or wait till we know our number to start?
Well, if we know our numbers, then we might be able to say, here, we're gonna give you the whole total, you break
Right.
it out how you want.
Right.
Where if we are shy, we may wanna say, okay, here's what you asked for, we're gonna give it to you, and then you can come back.
Right.
I don't know, that's my personal opinion. I probably won't be here for that other, but anyways, that's my personal opinion. What do you think, Eloise?
I'd vote for the full 22,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's doubled the
Yeah.
money.
Right,
Yeah.
right. 5 either way isn't going to
Yeah,
make
Is
or
it
break.
22 or 23,000?
It's
Yeah, that,
$22,183.
that's relatively small money compared
Yeah.
to others, yeah.
Would it be prudent, I hate to even say this, but would it be prudent to like just give them like a
Like
little
25,000?
25 and then, because look at how we're allocating money and everything is doubling, so I mean, what's $2,000 when we're talking 23? That's my
Right.
personal opinion. So maybe
I
make,
agree. It saves them coming back.
yeah, and
Yeah.
we're already having to do reserve fund transfers and all this other nonsense, so
Right.
that's what I would do. I would.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the 25,000 for the transfer station wall.
Okay,
Second? Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
aye.
Done.
Was that unanimous?
It was.
Yeah.
The other thing I think that we could easily pass or discuss, not to pressure anyone, is the bridge, the South Street Bridge, because all of that funding is covered under grants.
I thought I heard they don't have to build a new one now. They can repair this one.
Oh, I haven't heard anything except for what he
What
came
was
and
that?
told us the other day.
The South Street Bridge. I heard that we don't have to build a new one, they can repair it now. Is that true?
I haven't heard that.
Me neither.
Okay. then-
Okay, John, here's your assignment. You gotta reach out highway and
Ask
find
Fred.
that out before our next meeting.
So we
Yeah.
won't vote on anything.
No, I guess not.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Okay.
No, we could probably do public safety, which is both the fire and the police.
So I would say I'd
Only
like,
because I assume we'll still get the mitigation money.
right, so I'd want to know what our mitigation funding is before, because we have to determine where those funds come from. Not the mitigation funds, but the funds, like if we buy if we approve a new car, then we have to say that new car has to come from mitigation.
Mitigation.
And so I'd just like to know what our mitigation numbers are.
Okay, I'll try to remember to ask Dennis.
Okay, that'd be cool.
Okay,
Some
now,
of this information isn't available yet either.
Yeah.
Um,
It seems like everything is slow this year.
Yeah,
It's not
and-
just us.
yeah.
Well, what happens is you expect a certain amount and then you go out to bid finally and
all right.
you woefully,
I'll talk to
Dennis
Fred. I'll
leaves
find out, yeah.
Okay,
February
great.
3.
Hmm?
Dennis leaves February 3.
Do we have a new Dennis?
Yep.
Oh, good.
Paul? Is that his name? They introduced him. He wasn't there, but they told us who he was last night. I want to say.
I don't know, he's from,
remember
I
Roger?
think, Leominster? From
He's young.
Wilkerson.
They said he'd be here if, that was the hopeful that he'd be here a long time. That's what, I do remember them saying that. They're hoping that he'll be here a long time, because he's
It'd be
young.
nice to.
Yeah.
And we have new fire chief. I haven't met him yet.
Yeah, I haven't met him yet. There's a new fire
he
chief.
In
He's
his position now?
3 weeks? I think they said 3
Well, the fire
weeks.
chief leaves January 31 at midnight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the current one,
Yeah. Chief Clark Day.
Clark, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Okay, if I
Okay.
get a better approximate number from Dennis, I'll send you all an email.
Okay.
Fantastic. Okay.
Since my computer died on me, when is our next meeting?
So that was gonna be my next question. You still have class on Thursday nights?
Do you know I haven't heard from one person?
What?
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm thinking that most of the colleges go back after Martin Luther King, so we'll see.
Oh, okay.
I kind of like this 5 o'clock one though. Does
Yeah, I do
anybody
too.
else like the 5 o'clock meeting or no?
I'm okay with it, yeah.
I just stay from work.
Poor Eloise.
So what about the 26th? I can't do 5, but I could do 5:30.
That's all right.
Would that be okay?
126.
I have a training that night from 4 to 7 on the 26th.
Well, I could do 7. That's super fun. I remember there's Eloise works Wednesdays.
Yeah, and I have FinCom.
Okay. And I work Tuesdays. Mondays?
The select board meet, but I don't have anything the 30th.
I could
No?
do 6 on the 30th.
Yeah.
That work?
Eloise, that work for you?
Yep.
And I'll try to reach out to my group.
Okay.
Wait a minute, was that January 6th or February? It can't be January
January.
6th.
It was January 30th at 6 p.m. Monday, January 30th.
Oh, January is racing by. huh?
I know, right? We're
Jeez.
supposed to turn in our report on the 31st. Ooh. So we're waiting to hear numbers. That's really the big bridge, cable.
Well, cable, we have the numbers.
Cable.
We just need the request.
We just need the request.
Yep.
And I've already reached out to her, and I will get Kristen to send her a capital request form. Kristen to send Brittany a capital request form.
Do you need to meet with the,
I think we've heard it all enough. Have you not heard it all
Either
enough?
that or do a Zoom meeting or something to make it easier for her.
Or we can do like we do for FinCom. They're talking about like doing, or hybrid, like
Hybrid.
a hybrid
Yeah.
meeting, like they do for,
Yeah, some people
Select
can
board.
log in, yeah.
yeah, she can log in. It's just the room has to be available. Cause
The
there's,
room
yeah,
across
Yeah.
Hall is available, isn't it?
I
Have to
prefer
look at the
person.
schedule.
I prefer
okay.
person to person too.
Me too.
I cannot.
Despite the coughing, I really prefer.
Yeah. It's nothing compared when I'm sit with all day at work.
Oh,
so.
I bet.
So,
So I'll reach out to Brittany and we'll see if we can figure out some way for her to meet with us, either hybrid or Zoom. You can bring her in by phone, assuming you guys want to speak with her. I sort of feel like we've heard enough, but I feel like I've personally heard enough.
I kind of feel the same.
But I'm happy to meet with her.
It would be over my head. It would be extremely technical, and I'm not in a position to ask, well, why do you want this as opposed to that? That's,
How about this? I'll get her the capital request form and we'll get her official information in. You guys will see it and then you can decide if you have any questions. If you have questions, I will arrange for her to come. How's
Okay.
that?
That sounds like a plan.
Okay.
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 Any other thoughts, concerns? I vote we adjourn this meeting at 6:11 p.m. I suggest.
what time?
6:11.
1 hour exactly, yeah.
Look at
Yeah.
us being efficient.
And my computer died, so I wasn't trying to be.